The most mysterious thing in the world. Someone who has met you. They're almost all dead now. Probably the exception. Look at this fate. I can't trust the whole thing. But I can't believe it. That boy is probably your rock. You will touch him less later. But your majesty. The Demon King was a little hasty and didn't dare to cry out. Not even waiting for him to finish. The Emperor slowly sighed. This must be sinister. The power is so strong that it's unfathomable. If you can't do it, he became the eye of the storm. In the war, in the celestial world, can anyone confront him? Okay, listen to me. Arrange. I just wanted to raise a tiger. Along with the Kier-devouring beast. Help me strengthen Jiangshan. But who knows how to raise a dragon? A dragon that even I can't control. Probably ha 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 ha. It really turned into complex of ancient Three Pine and Long Feng San family. It's become my serious event. The Emperor sighed and turned. In his eyes flashed the light of two. The face of two people is the same. The devil immediately stopped. Very unsightly. He is as perfect as the best. It makes people feel like they've been bitten by a dog. There's no way out. For half a day, the Emperor on one side appeared, melancholy. He looked back at the people the Demon King had captured. Then whisper out loud, "Take an eye out to see if it's appropriate." Yes, the devil nodded. In my hands there's a light. A bloody eyeball appeared. It's at this moment. People are slowly waking up. I looked at three people screaming. Who are you? What do you want to do? Of course, give you a chance to become the next high priest. Then the Demon King laughed coldly and said, 412 become my people. As he said, he pressed the Kier on the ground, aggressively smashing one of Kia's eyes. Then bring a different eye to the fusion. A pathetic scream echoed. Fresh blood keeps flowing out like water. Then begin to gradually tolerate the new eye. The Emperor and his wife saw this. Immediately rise to joy. It won't be long. The man then let out a miserable cry. Body shrinkage. Then die. Of course, it is still betrayed by Kier. It was as if I had already predicted the outcome, but the Emperor still sighed a little unwillingly. The wind can destroy the sky. Others can't do it. Stop being betrayed. Even the people of his tribe. The same blood also suffers from this condition. Watch out before the blood wakes up. Even if you are a man of God, it is difficult to receive this benefit. The head of the head. He sighed and advised His Majesty, please relax. This is also reasonable. If AI can also be used. For 1,000 years, the world has been peaceful. I'm afraid it's already 6 chisels because of the competition for clairvoyance. They become the enemy. The Emperor thought a little. You said no wrong. But it's like this. You can break God's will. There is only one saint left. But now she's in the hands of the strangers. Don't worry, Your Majesty. Long angel footprints. Even if the head is a man of God, sooner or later it will fall into your hands. The horse whispered to the naked man. Emperor in eyes crystal light eruption. I still have a little bit of thought. I just hope is like that. A different dimension after coming from the tears of the heavens. The worst way. Immediately returned to the bones of the royal family. Look at the surroundings. It must be these days. No one took this opportunity to mess up. Now keep the balance like this. Nobody wants to break. This is the safest time for everyone. The butler is suddenly here. A call from behind the most powerful. Suddenly, he turned his head and looked back. I can see the snow is seriously coming. Seeing her is a little wrong. I suspect or ask the girl. What's wrong with you? He bit his lips as if a little hesitant. Finally persistent in speaking up. The butler, do you know who killed my father? Suddenly my heart trembled. Most likely, the eyes looked at her. How do I know who told you? You don't care who told me. In short, do you know it or not? The veins in her eyes flashed, and she said firmly. But the most likely guess is who? Laughing out loud, ha ha ha. I know, the two old men must have played me. I don't want to be the first bird. Let Lao Tzu do it. Big Wolf, right? You can play like that, right? The best way to think. Currently refused to answer. The fog will leave everyone. On the contrary, he plans to jump into the kingdom. Or Prime Minister's office. If you tell her that, it's to get lost in the vanguard. Confront the court. To be the bad guy destroying the balance. The real power is a dilemma. Or take it backwards. The butler, you know that, right? I can see his voice hurrying to ask. Then tell me quickly. Why should I tell you? I didn't even wait for her to finish. Most likely the world spoke coldly. And now the world is being targeted. It's Lao Tzu protecting you. It also means that you owe me. Not that I owe you. Based on something. If you ask me, I have to answer everything. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The fog is not in a hurry. Hurry in front of him. His face looked so pleading. Track the butler. What do you want? You can tell me the truth about everything. Really want to know? He stared at her with a steady glance, and nodded. Probably laughing for an hour. Coldly looking at her. Then you have to see her expression. If you can't be my girl, based on what you have to say to her, all the facts. Unconscious body trembling. The cheeks are a little red. I can't believe it. Looking towards the surest, viciously aggressive lip biting. Two eyes with unexpected tears. Maybe the butler is like that. Take advantage when people are in trouble. Probably laughing for an hour is not wrong. I am not a good person. Just taking advantage of an accident. Borrow the wind to break the shoots, rooster fallen Leo. We do these things all the time. How do we meet our conditions? The body's bones are constantly trembling. Two clenched hands finally hesitated to speak. Let me think about the butler. It doesn't matter how long. If you don't hurry, I won't hurry. Most likely, he shrugged his shoulders coldly. Du glanced at him. He said nothing more, turned away in anger. He could not help but raise doubts. I didn't just ask her to help him see what was going on. Just be a military officer. Why is it so hard? Thinking of this, he sighed unconsciously. Looks like she's persistent. I want to do good and then help. This is basically impossible. If he is good, what is the emperor? Then he lifted his feet to the hall. I want to teach you a little bit. Your father is back. The lost I saw him exclaim happily. But I didn't even wait for the best to speak up. Eternally the nail has booed you up. Maybe you're finally back. Lost is so busy. The princess came from afar to help you. And you're not there. I don't even want to thank the princess's sword of support. The face is not shrinking. Most likely, he took a cold breath. This fire is getting lost again. Hear this word. Nin forever angry scolding sure to dare. You dare to call the princess a firehouse. Most likely, she refused to give her opinion. What is the ocean? It's crazy. I didn't even look at her. He said she was not a princess. He was banned by the emperor. I can see your expression. The anger is getting deeper and deeper. Shouting is disrespectful. You don't want to keep your head, do you? Is that dung often reluctantly shakes its head. Hurry to reconcile my sister. Don't be angry. This kind of personality is probably hard and soft. Just don't want to see me again later. Why is that? If not, what are you doing running from afar to get lost? Unconscious hedgehog. He opened his mouth knowing he had missed a word. The two red cheeks hurriedly changed their voices. Stubbornly speaking up, the princess is talking. The princess is generous. Can you be as shallow as him? Is shit often heard here? I know the death of the princess. I can't help but sigh. The same goes for this head. This devil thing. Why is it so teasing butterflies? 413 is the best. I didn't even notice the two women in front of me. How to express, I want you to out for a while. Avoid disturbing him. Think about here. Then he looked coldly at Vin Nin maliciously. Princess Vin Nin. It's not a dog drill. Then hide out. Why is it possible? My princess, this time the main road, out of the great gate of the palace. Arrogantly raise your head. Vin Nin calmly spoke up. NBA, next month is the birth of the 100-year-old father. So I'm especially approved by my father. Go out and prepare an offering for him. More. I fear you have limited time to prepare. I am especially here to help you prepare. Look how good I am to you. A face full of smiles. Look at the most solid side. One wants to be rewarded. Most likely, she felt she wanted to die. A cold voice said, "What do we do with farts?" He then turned and left a little. I don't want to hear her talk. When you see this forever, shout. Then he looked at the lost Van used to say. Van often billion. What kind of slaves do people normally teach? I don't see anything. It's an awkward prize. Laughing, laughing, solving. Haha, my princess, I am so grateful. He doesn't know so good and so bad. No need to pay attention to him. But in her heart she was happy. The princess must accept defeat as soon as possible. Then there are fewer and fewer of her competitors. Sorry. Even if there are no butterflies around the plaster. Most importantly, it is not her turn. Put your feet in. It's just that she loves herself. She looked at the two women in front of her. In their hearts, they understand their feelings. To do not make a sound. If the butler. People can be like butterflies. All day, follow his ass. This word just came out. The faces of two women are often the same forever. Nin. Suddenly red. But on the outside, I still don't want to scream. I said, who is a butterfly? He said, follow your ass all day. I'm a bee. Can I follow his ass? The surgeon shook his head. A woman who dares to follow but does not dare to receive. They also measure you. Get lost and run away. I'm sure the CA is here to find you. I'm going to find him now. He just left. The two embarrassed women flushed their faces and looked at each other. But in my heart, I am a big fan of the sea. Even if he can find the most evil at any time. If you want to see him, you have to find a reason. Even more to face his cold intonation. You're too shy to find it. On this side of the room is the dung after leaving the room. A straight line to the garden. Most likely, he had been waiting for him there for a long time. Look at the people coming. Probably most people can't help but laugh. No worse eyes than before. I knew I had something to find. Of course. Whatever you say, you've been working with the CA for so long. It hasn't been psychic for a long time. Ha ha ha. Hai touched his nose with a laugh. The best way to do that is with your hands. Let me see your progress. In the eyes can't help but condense. Is the unwitting rise of the sea? Immediately rushed towards him, a book struck down. Every right to sound. Most likely, one side teaches another. Fighting is not using force. You have to use your brain to find the distance. There is a distance to go up. There's no distance. The distance has to go up. Attack weakness. Avoid unexpected attack strength step by step, creating traps. Adjust him for a long time. Straight to the point where Van Hai can't stand it anymore. Panting on the ground. He looked at the worst of the world with a loud cry. My brother was too busy for a whole day. Looking up at the sky. Most likely, he sighed for 3 years. It's part of it now. This mixed coal has been stirred. Days later. I want to have free time like this. It's not easy either. Most likely, he shook his head and patted Van Hai's shoulder. And then you lift your feet and walk to your room. He looked at the shadow of his back and left. They are also aware of the problem. Hurry up. Towards the room of the lost van, often run away. Probably one way. Go straight to your room. But just open the door. I felt a strange gas coming. Watch out. But the closer we get, The people in the ceiling appear more clearly. I was surprised to see the woman in front of me. What are you doing? Why run to my bed again and look like this? The person in the bed is the one in the room. Moreover, the appearance is extremely embarrassing. She has only one cover on her body. Reveals smooth white skin. Face flushed with shame. Both eyes are teary, but looking back is more sexy. If you let someone see this, the first thing they think of is most certainly humbling bone stool. Jumped into the yellow river. This is probably the most unwashed. Do sitting on the bed. It is difficult to cover half the person with a blanket. Your animal is full of hate. Not what you want. I only hope after I get my body. You must keep your promise. When did I tell you to do this? Most likely the head is full of doubt or asks the opposite. The result is, when I heard this word, I was angry. You must be humiliating me. It is your mouth that says. You said let me be your man. Now I want to admit what you mean. Hear this word. Probably the most transparent. Hurry up and explain what you are talking about. I want you to be my man, not what that means. I just want you to help me see the sky. Be a soldier for me. Moreover, don't he say anything moral that wants us to be good. That's it. Your words have come to an end, and I cannot believe them. What to say? Then she misunderstood what he meant. He didn't mean that. She is a small-hearted person who thinks badly of others. Think of her here. Bow your head shamefully and awkwardly without speaking. When I saw the scene, I knew she understood. Take a deep breath. Go to the side and cover yourself with a towel. She was in a hurry to get her clothes. He is blind. I didn't care about this shit before. Both of my lives have never been. I don't want to experience it now either. What he wants is the real power, is the career. Suddenly someone came to the door. Threatened him to death. At this moment the door suddenly opened. He was the first to come in laughing. A few days ago, my brother and sister went to ask the leader. I heard today is your birthday. So I'm ready. Just look at the situation in the room. It scared him away. Hurry up and close the door. I look at the people behind me shamefully. The CA has arranged it. Let's not bother him anymore. 414 The dragon is here. What doesn't bother you? I'm sure what this is all about. It is often in spite of pushing the door in. To look at the scene in the room and roll your eyes in wonder. Who is she? Where is she? Probably the most indifferent shrug. I don't want to explain either. Dismiss this person. Can you guys go outside first? How to get out? Maybe the butler was caught cheating in bed. It's a hard sight to see. Be sure to record it. The devil is afraid of the world. Laughing, the devil shouted. As he just finished, the devil hit him again. Go in and scold the shit for cheating in bed. The butler is a wealthy single man. is a desirable male partner. He can't find the target. The other 3 demons heard that and nodded together. The worst of all, look at the 4 people who sing the painting. A sentence to a sentence. The color of his face dropped, furiously glaring. These 4 fires are getting more and more chaotic. But apart from them, there are still people who are less bothered. The Princess of Vin came. Take the moon down on the woman. Excited to say, let the princess see who you are. Is it worthy of our butler, or not? Quilt just came out. The woman's face appeared in front of her. Vin Nin could not help but look back in surprise. That's the cloud. Everyone who sees the face is terrified. Can't say a word. The more you look, the more annoying. Didn't say much either. Then the image changes and the fog leaves. A shake of myself. 2 people appear on an empty land. Look at the dark sky full of stars. A moment later, after changing clothes, he came slowly. Most likely I didn't even look at her a bit. I didn't notice anything before. Calmly raise your head and look at the sky. That's still the saying. Help us unconditionally, we are a group. You are my man. Your family's business is also my business. If not, she and the people of Vangia fled to the forest. I also consider myself dedicated to your family. Then don't get involved in this. The word just ended. The fog was suddenly terrified. The dragon is coming. Thinking eyes. I think most people remember what I said that day. Looking towards the dew. I know you mean the dog is about to act. Suddenly it's as if you're conscious of something. The most likely is smiling. Very well, from now on you are officially my man. The fog is also smiling. The idea is the same as what he said. She agreed to work for him. Early morning the next day. Inside the royal palace. The emperor sat on Long Yi. The gods are also on both sides. Bend the bow. Sand Rider Chong Feng heads. Quan Kung Fu non-combat god 6. Everyone together turned towards the emperor. NGO home ceremony of 10,000 years, 10,000 years. If there is a report, the court is closed. The eunuch next to the emperor. 1 step forward. Look at the people talking. She just finished her solo words and swung her sleeve. Let's stand Ra hunched who said. The case of the great priest was assassinated. I tried my best for more than 10 days. But there's still no clue. Please, Your Majesty, allow me to have more investigators conduct more stringent testing for the nations of the empire. Sealing. The emperor's face did not express coldly. God's will is for you to be alone. Jia San's school Feng glanced at her lonely battle sky. Do not be impressed. This marshal is really dedicated. Devoted to loyalty. There is not a little bit of thinking. This person is too honest. He did not find out that Ra was fighting underground at court. You just hang on to this and don't let go. Even if he's more dedicated. But going in the wrong direction is a waste. Slightly smirked, the wind took a step forward. Laughed and said, Lord, I have something to do. 10 days ago, the gates of the imperial city are closed, and they are afraid. The house is afraid. I ask you to understand the people. Lifting the ban on the imperial city. There is no truth to the case of the high priest. Can you easily open the door like that? The Prime Minister is in such a hurry. Maybe this has something to do with the Lord. But the wind hasn't finished yet. She laughed coldly for an hour. The Emperor looked coldly at the maple sands. Didn't he say wait for him to explain? Quietly laughing and shaking his head, Master Jia Sands spoke with a cold face. Although the High Priest's case is important, but the national face is just as important. Your Majesty, even if you don't care about the persecution, to settle out of work, you should also pay attention to the foreign rumors. Begin, Your Majesty. The Emperor knew that Your Majesty's centenary is coming. The special envoy came first to congratulate. Permission, Your Majesty. What he said, the Emperor cried out in amazement. She is also afraid to scream. That's why you sent the special envoy. Slightly raised eyebrows. The head of the forest is not wrong. This is the diplomatic ambassador. If you send an envoy to the capital, I saw the gate closed. You can't just come in and out. I'm afraid you'll be laughed at. The old emperor sitting on Long Wai heard this. Angry to shiver. By teeth scold judge. That dog is always aimed at him. If he agrees, it's not that he's going to be married. I only think about my face. I don't care about calculus. The wolf is like that. It's very clear. Keep working quietly. Make him not find out. The Lord of Heaven heard this. Hurry up with the right to speak. Your Majesty, so far, I have a grudge against the sky. Years without end. This time they're sending a delegation. I'm afraid there's something wrong. Especially now the good and bad empires are mixed up. It is not appropriate for outside forces to enter. Your Majesty firmly refused their request. You shouldn't carry a snake and bite a chicken. The Marshal's words are wrong. It's because the two countries have never been quiet. Now is the best time to create a better relationship between the two countries. Slowly shaking his head, smiling again for an hour. What should the newspaper say? People have good intentions to celebrate. You refuse to let people stand outside your door. It really discredits the universe. Blue Cane Nung despises us. It has to do with your face. However, the universe. Why can the Marshal be careful? Tight like that. The schools have just ended. Two officials from both sides suddenly stood out. Bow out loud screaming. The Prime Minister is right, I agree. The Prime Minister is right, Your Majesty. There will be others as well. Just a moment later, all the officials in the court, all on their knees at the same time. We agree with you. The Emperor looked at this scene. In the silence of anger. Infantry market middle road often. This whole bunch of geeks are psychopaths. Dare to stand on the side of the Sand Chief to force him. 415 Special Envoy of Kanung. She's alone on this side. The face is also very unimportant. The martial arts god on the court. But listen to the sands of the wind. The power of the Emperor, except for his followers, there's nothing. This is really worrying. Jia San's school wind gently stroked beard. He looked up at the emperor and laughed. Your Majesty, this is the state of affairs. The Chinese god asked His Majesty to decide immediately. The old man could also quickly answer to the emperor's side. Velvet canes. Damaged. Minister, what are you doing so quickly? If you were worried about velvet canes like that. If someone doesn't know, I thought you were a minister there. The emperor laughed coldly for an hour. Towards Ra the chief poked. This word just came out. The men below immediately broke into a cold sweat. The emperor is saying that the prime minister is a traitor. Such a crime has no basis. How can I joke? Maybe the emperor was angry and said something. The farmer didn't pay attention either. The water flows casually. Your Majesty is joking, and I will receive the benefits of the celestial sphere. Of course, we should be dedicated to the country. That's all I do. They're all worried about the country. I hope you understand. Ha ha ha, understand the Prime Minister's suffering. Of course I understand. The emperor laughed coldly into a loud voice. Finally aggressive to bring the offerings to the side. Old eunuch, let's follow the Prime Minister's movement. Allow the delegation of Kanung into the sky. Open the door to the capital. The High Priest's case will be discussed after my birth. His Majesty Min. The Lord on the throne. The emperor laughed coldly at them. Two grips tightly to the right. A bunch of gangster psychopaths. At the same time inside the temple. Long time above the clitoris. A golden compass on the highest position. Radiate the light of two. Demonic energy is constantly surrounding. Turned into a star full of sky to transport itself. I'm sure most of you have seen this scene. To bright eyes filled with wonder. The most reproach in his eyes condensed in admiration. These are the 8 things that have been passed down from this life. The other life of Vanjia. Thong Tiangi. Slowly nod your head. Wade solemnly said no wrong. It's connected to the heavens. You can see the direction of the world. Today we saw the transformation of the stars. Only the evil dragons are gathering here. But it's just a bug. Only through this doubt. You can see the direction of the forces. The fate of the families. It turns out that's it. Slowly nod your head. I am most likely to look at her seriously. Miss Van here, watch out. I'm going to watch Cho. The fog covered his mouth and laughed softly. This place is the land of God. What do we have to watch out for? Let's pretend we're thieves. That's right. But now the eyes and ears of the clans are mixed. I will protect you. Probably the most embarrassing human scratching his head. Go outside and hold the door. Unconsciously stagnant bone writing. This guy doesn't seem so bad either. At least don't treat the person next to you badly. If not, why do those people take the initiative to celebrate the birth of God medicine? I suddenly remember thinking about the day before. Her face was suddenly red. Her face fell into his lap last night. It's like giving him a gift. It's really embarrassing. Think about here. She quickly shook her head to calm herself down. Let's just whisper and get started. My eyes suddenly turned black. Looking at the direction of the angel. Just for a moment. The star is full of sky turned into 4 iguanas. The angels of war devoured each other. The more the fog looked, the more terrified it was, on a face full of panic.